Good afternoon. Welcome to our Monday, April 15th, 2024 Madison County School Board member. If anyone needs to sign in, the sign-in sheet is to the back on the podium to my right. Do we have any sign-ins? Okay. Thank you. This meeting is now officially called to order. We will have, please stand for a moment of silence and the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going right into item number 2, the agenda. On the agenda, item 2.1, amendments to the agenda. Anybody would like to add or pull anything from the agenda? Okay. 2.2, adoption of the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda.
I second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Gibson, second by Mrs. Knight, that we approve the agenda. All in favor, please. 5-0, Mrs. Bishop. Okay, we're going right to public input. We have one person to sign, and that's Mrs. Gwen T. Hubbard. Ms. Hubbard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question regarding an item on the consent agenda. Is that permissible that you just approved?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And I don't think we approved it yet, have we?
No, we haven't
Yeah,
approved
we
it
haven't
yet.
approved it yet.
Okay,
So now
okay.
is the time so that you can tell them
okay,
if you
great,
think they should
thank you.
approve it.
Okay, the first question was, is concerning the articulation agreement with Florida A&M University. And my first question is this a new agreement? I know it is for the upcoming year, but is this the first time we've had this agreement?
This is not the
No, ma'am.
first time we've had this agreement.
Okay, so I have some additional questions. I guess I'd like to call it a status report since you all review this every year. I would like to know the number of students enrolled at each grade level and their progress in the program. If there were any setbacks to enrollment. What is the progress reporting mechanism for students and parents regarding this program? Who is the school level contact? How are students and parents informed and recruited? What is the success retention rate of the students who are currently enrolled in the program? And a concern was last month we took the current 8th graders to the high school who will be the upcoming 9th graders. And my concern is this was not discussed with that group of students at all. And when you read through this agreement, it starts at the 9th grade. There are requirements for them for the 9th grade. So parents and students should be made aware of this program and the requirements, such as the SAT, ACT, well, they have to start taking that before they even get to the 9th grade in order to be eligible, if I can understand this correctly. I'm just concerned about all those questions that I have regarding this program. As I reviewed it, I think it's an excellent program, and it should be encouraged at every level, and every time adults are up speaking to their students about matriculation, articulation, to wherever it is they want to go. They need to be made aware of this at all times. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Hubbard, if you will get with the superintendent, we have some information on that. And, Madam Superintendent, that information that we have in our packet, it's a matter of public information.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have something in our packet tonight. So if you would please get with the superintendent, or either you can read my packet, the one that I have in my packet. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Now, we're going to the consent agenda, and that's the minutes, 4.1, the minutes, 4.2, joint use agreement with Boys to Kings, 4.3, dual agreement with North Florida College, 4.4, articulation agreement with Florida A&M University, 4.5, Gold Book Toolkit Program, 4.6, agreement with PACE for continued in-service program with ESOL endorsement. Okay, members,
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
it has been moved by Mrs. Knight, second by Mrs. Gibson, that we approve the consent agenda items. All in favor, please show your hand.
I need to ask a question.
Oh.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
The Gold Book Toolkit Program. Have we been doing that?
This is a new program that the ESC department decided to use that felt that would be beneficial for their teachers to get information to their students. This is the first time they're using it. And they're paying for it out of their IDEA funds.
I just was trying to, I read, that's in there, but I just I couldn't grasp how much it would help them.
Okay, it's going to assist with the IEP for compliancy activities are aligned with the best standards and align support and materials with the standards, and it's going to assist them with record keeping. It's more of a teaching tool.
All right, that's all.
You're satisfied with
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah,
answer?
thank you.
Okay. All in favor, please show your hands. 5-0, Mrs. Bishop. Okay, items for individual consideration. 5.1, personnel and volunteers. Mr. Kittensworth.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This evening, it's relatively short. We have Miss McGee that will be resigning at the end of the school year. She's just, at the end of the year, she's going to quit.
Speak up a little bit.
And then we have 2 volunteers. Both, as you can see, they're at Central School, as well as the activity that they will be involved in at the school. So that's all that I have. Short and
Thank you.
sweet tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Board members?
I move we approve the personnel changes and volunteers.
Second.
It has been moved by Mr. Carroll, second by Mrs. Gibson, that we approve the volunteers and personnel changes. Questions? We'll take the vote. All in
I'd
favor?
like to wish Mrs. McGee a good retirement.
Yes.
Second retirement.
I
Second.
remember her from the primary school days.
She came back and helped us.
She's
We
been in the
appreciate
system
it.
a long time.
Okay, all in favor of? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Okay, permission to piggyback on Holmes County ARCA Tech Program.
Madam Chair, Mr. Ken is going to be talking about that.
Good afternoon, Board.
Good afternoon.
What I'm here tonight is to seek y'all's approval on piggybacking with Holmes County on their agreement for architectural services. Right now, Madison County does not have a architect on record. I've got some upcoming projects that's coming up, and due to time constraints on the funding, I don't have time to go to a formal bid process to secure a architectural firm at this time. The agreement that Holmes County has already been approved from Holmes County, for us to piggyback off of it. Our CRA will be the architectural firm that we're using. I've got several projects coming up that's going to require some architectural services, engineering services, electrical engineering services that I'll be bringing to you at a later date. But because of the funding source, it's going to run out this year pretty quick, and I won't have time to do the architectural bid process and the project process. So at this time, I'm trying to use their agreement with them already to save us some time to get this project done this year before we run out of time on the funding.
And
So-
to
so
basically summarize it, our chillers need to be replaced at the high school and the central school. Those are very expensive items. The chillers at the central school have been there since the central school have been there. We've got extra money, we keep telling you that money is running out. And so we're trying to be able to spend it before it run out. Either we approve this, we work with it, otherwise we pay for it out of general fund. We're trying to preserve general fund.
Okay, but now what does that have to do with the architecture? Is that, we have small projects you said coming up?
I've got,
Just-
the small project agreement with CRA is anything under $4 million.
Okay.
So this project will fall under the $4 million. It's not a large project by no
Somebody
means,
to
but
blow it up.
$4 million is considered a small project in this day and time. The cost of machinery, the drawings, engineering, and all that's involved into it, that's,
But it requires an architect though?
it will, yes, ma'am.
The contract they have attached that's in your packet is with Clemens Rutherford and Associates, and it's a contract that the numbers they're citing there, the $4 million for a projects or planning where the fees not to exceed $500,000. Those are the limits under, well, wait, first off, 287.055 is the Consultant Competitive Negotiation Act, and that's a statute that requires you to enter into competitive negotiations when a government is purchasing certain services such as engineering, architecture, landscape architecture, surveying, maybe a couple others. And it allows you, and that statute allows you to enter into a continuing contract, which is, so you don't have to do that for each and every job. You can do a continuing contract, and if they come under that amount, you can just keep using that firm, and lots of local governments do it. I'm not aware of anything that allows you to piggyback, and in fact, I think you can't piggyback. Have you got a, and I get Holmes County's agreed to it, but that's not the issue. The issue is whether that statute allows it.
According to,
It's in close to item 11.
under Division 12 of the contract,
No, but no. I get the contract says you can. I think the statute says you cannot, is my point. You can't contract to do what I don't think you can piggyback on Consultant Competitive Negotiation Act. I don't know if there's an exception because things are going out. I think what we could do, if the board is okay with this, is y'all just approve it, but give me a chance to look at it.
Based on the statute.
And I'm not hopeful of, I believe that statute says you can't piggyback these, but I'll look at it this evening and email everybody once we get done with the meeting. And I'll look and see if there's an exception for, in time constraints. If I remember that statute, it's been a little while since I looked at it, I don't know that there are any set time limits. Now, what you might could do is you might could do a notice and say you got to have a proposal back in 10 days or something, But anyway, if that's, I just want you to know, I have some concerns. Something's itching me on that piggyback. I don't believe you can.
Well, we've used this firm before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And never had a problem that I know about.
Exactly.
But
So as our attorney say, we'll go ahead and proceed with this. And then if something different, as he said, that 10-day,
okay. And we'll address that at that point.
yes.
yes.
That'll be fine.
Members?
Okay, I move to approve to piggyback on Holmes County Architect pending Mr. Reeves' evaluation of this contract,
Of piggyback.
of the piggybacking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Gibson, second by Mr. Carroll, that we piggyback on the Holmes County project with the concerns that the attorney has. Questions? All in favor, please show your hands. 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Thank you. 5.3, instructional materials.
What you have there in front of you is the Edmentum agreement for next school year. Edmentum is the company that we've been working with to provide our online instruction for students in the Bridge program. Next year, next year, our students at Waypoint, we'll be converting them over to Edmentum. This year, because we took over Waypoint in September, they had already purchased their instructional materials for the current semester. And we did not want to change to a whole different curriculum mid-year, so we just continued that contract, for the remainder of the school year. But we want to switch them over to Edmentum for Ed Options is the name of the program. And with that, Edmentum provides a certified teacher that is the teacher of record, so that we meet the requirement to have a certified teacher for each subject area. So it's a large contract. And Ms. Joseph's going to talk with you guys a little bit later
They've got a
about
company letter.
Waypoint, because we received notice this past, I think Thursday or Friday, that they are looking to expand their program for up to, I think, 85 students. This year, they're at 30. And so, in order to do that, we're going to have to purchase additional licenses. And we want to be able to go ahead and do that out of some of this ESSER money, so that we can get all of that spent. And so, got a question, Ms. Gibson? I thought you were, okay, my bad.
No, I'm just shaking my head,
Okay.
yes.
And so I will probably have to bring this back to you. I had already put this on the agenda for tonight. And I'd like to go ahead and get approval for that, and then I'll bring back the additional licenses, the purchase of those, as soon as we get a better handle on how many Waypoint expects to start the school year with.
Thank you.
I will tell you, since we've gone to this curriculum, our students have been much more successful than what we've had in the past. We are having a lot more students complete their classes. Part of that I will attribute to just the setup that we're using now, and also, Mr. White and how he's kind of got them organized out at the Bridge right now. We're hoping to have that same kind of process over at Waypoint, because we're not having as many students successfully complete the courses through the program they're currently using. Any questions?
Will ESSER money cover this?
It will cover it for this coming year, yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the contract.
I second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Knight, second, excuse me, by Mrs. Thompson, that we approve the contract. Any other questions? All in favor? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Thank you. Item 5.4, 2024 through 2025 calendar. Mrs. Joseph?
Okay, Madam Chair, from the last meeting, we heard you, there was confusion on the format that we've had with the calendars. We heard you, we've made some adjustments. And so as you see presented to you, we've got a specific calendar, and we've got a heading on each calendar for each group of personnel. And basically, we've got a student calendar, we've got a bus driver monitor calendar, and it tells them exactly how many days they need to work. We've got a lunchroom calendar, we've got a teacher calendar for a 10-month teacher, we've got 11-month teacher calendar, we have a parapro calendar, and we have a 12 and a 12-month calendar. And so we put it separately. Hopefully that will keep down some of the confusion. And we will keep them updated and posted at the appropriate places.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've seen the calendar, you've read it. Need approval for it, please.
Madam Chair, I've moved to approve the 2024-2025 calendars.
Second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Thompson, seconded by Mrs. Gibson, that we approve the 2024 through 2025 calendar. Questions? All in favor? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Item 5.5, Skyward Renewal. Ms. Goyette.
Hello.
Hello.
So we're at the end of our current, or coming up to the end on June 30th, of our current Skyward licensing contract for Skyward, which is our student information system and our business management system. So they have sent over, basically offered to extend our current pricing another 3 years. So I'm just asking for approval to do that. It's basically the board's going to approve that. But NEFEC is actually the contract holder because we buy through them. But they ask us to approve it because they're agreeing on our behalf to sign to purchase it.
And we're asking for a 3-year.
Yes, so just an extension of our current 3-year. It's about $16.05, and it's a per FTE, per student FTE. So it's around, and it varies, but it's around $36,000 to $38,000 a year.
Questions? Board members, any questions? Okay.
I move we approve the Skyward renewal
For 3 years.
for 3 years.
I second.
It has been moved by Mr. Carroll, second by Mrs. Knight, that we approve the Skyward renewal for 3 years. All in favor of? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. Thank you. 5.6, field trips, Mrs. Joseph.
Okay, I have 2 field trips before you. It's Pineapple Elementary School is taking a group to Valdosta on May 10th, and that's after their testing. And the HOSA group, that's the Health Organization of Students, whatever, they want to take a group to the FSU School of Nursing. And actually, this was rescheduled from last week. And it was good they rescheduled because they had it planned on Friday and all that rain. And so that's when and it's being paid for by their club. Those are the 2 field trips I have for you.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the field trips listed. I second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Knight, second by Mrs. Thompson, that we approve the 2 field trips. Questions? There be none. All in favor of? 5-0, Ms. Bishop. 5.7, staff trips, Mrs. Joseph.
Our staff trips are as follows. We've got a staff request to the CASE conference. That's with that's an ESC conference, that's with Ms. Ritchie. Florida School Safety Recertification Training in Sanford, that's with Mr. Williams. State RD and R training. That's a good question, what it is? Okay, that's with that's the migrant, that's with Mr. Jones and Mr. Gonzalez. Okay, and the federal program will be paying for that, and we have, Ms. Fletcher, one of the things we're trying to build capacity within our organization. And we're trying to train people. And so Ms. Sandy Fletcher, and I think I've spoke with you before, she's doing finance officer training, so we won't be left in a lurch like we were left before. And so she's going to training. That Ms. Raynick is not leaving, okay? No, she's not leaving. But that's some training that will better assist us. And those are the staff trip requests.
I move to approve the staff travel.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Gibson, second by Mr. Carroll, that we approve the staff travel. Questions?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question on the travel and the training for Ms. Fletcher. This is, I think she's been to a couple, if I remember correctly, and I know that it's going to be a process, and this is being paid out of the general fund. Do we have any type of non-compete or anything with her? I mean, like, we're putting her through this training and we're paying for it, and then she can go apply for a CFO position somewhere else. You know, do we have any type of protection for us in
No, ma'am,
place?
but I will get that in place soon. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, a non-compete would be nice.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
wait,
you.
a non-compete is probably not what you're asking, because we don't compete with other districts in that
Right.
manner. The
Or it's some
issue,
type of requirement that she would have to pay it back if she didn't stay for,
That's
you know, a
exactly.
minimum of 3 years,
I'll
whatever.
get with you and when I draft.
I mean, I'm all for doing it 100%, but I just, you know, if we're gonna invest in our people, which I am 100% for, you know, we seem to have a habit of, you know,
Training
training
them, they
people
go.
and then they leave us the next week. So,
Yes.
you know, not that I think Ms. Fletcher is going anywhere, but we need to do a better job of protecting our dollars and our investment in our people.
but if I could recommend though, why don't we, that would have to be a written contract that everybody would sign. It'd have to come back to this board. We probably need to go see if another district has a good sample of where they've actually done that.
Sure.
And then this, Sandy's not in the bargaining unit, is she?
No, she's not in the bargaining unit.
Okay, so then, yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
The only cost that we are incurring is the travel part of it. There's not a cost for the training.
So what would she pay
We're not
back?
investing too much then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would just, like I said, it just, again, do the due diligence and then see what it adds up to. I just know it's a,
That cost would be the travel, but also the time that we're paying her
Correct.
for.
Correct.
And so, if we can do that. and
That's
if
a good
she's-
idea.
yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was my only question. I'm
You-
good. We're
okay.
ready to vote.
We'll take the vote. Okay, all in favor of the staff travel? 5-0, Mrs. Bishop. 5.8, settlement agreement with rights of passage. Mrs. Joseph?
That's that's Attorney Reeves.
Okay, so the proposed settlement agreement that's before you, that is a settlement agreement of a lawsuit between where right of passage sued the district. The settlement agreement is an agreement where basically both sides walk away. So nobody gets any money, there's no payment of costs, no payment of fees, et cetera. So let me kind of give you some background on how we got to this place. So the rite of passage has been a provider for the district and is presently a provider for the district. And traditionally they provided dropout prevention programs, which were the programs that were used at the second chance schools and all of that. I don't know what they're providing this year. Is it still dropout prevention?
They're working with Joy and Bridget. That's the only
Bridget.
people they're working with right now.
So the contract, when I got involved and learned about rite of passage, they had filed a lawsuit against the district for the 2018-2019 school year. So our contract was that they would provide the dropout prevention program services, and in exchange, they would receive 92% of the FTE that was generated by those students. Now, it wasn't just that simple, because the contract provided that we would pay monthly payments along and along based upon an estimated number of students, and then at the end, it would be trued up. But the basis of the contract was that they would get 92% of the FTE generated. What caused the problem and the misunderstanding with that contract was that over Christmas of that year, the district decided to change the way those services were delivered. Before Christmas of that year, the services were delivered in a more traditional situation, where the students came in and they were being taught by a teacher and all of that. After Christmas, they went to a setup where they were being taught under a virtual program, but Rite of Passage had folks there to answer questions, etc. What Rite of Passage apparently did not realize is that your FEFP calculations for traditional students are different than for virtual students, and specifically how you are reimbursed. So, and Rose, jump in and correct me if I get this wrong, but the traditional students, you get reimbursement for that FEFP regardless of how successful they are. Mm-hmm. For the virtual students, you only get reimbursed if they are successful and pass the class. Mm-hmm. Now, these were already students that were at risk and were having trouble, and so a fair number of them did not pass these classes. So when we got to the end, Rite of Passage believed that they should have been paid more money than they were actually paid. And our position was, well, no, you were to get 92% of the FEFP. You've been paid that, and that's that. So they filed a lawsuit. Now, when I had calculated it out, and we had tried to figure it out, and Ms. Joseph was here, and I think Ms. Hill was part of it, and we were trying to figure it out. When I looked at it, it looked as though that they owed us back a few $1,000s that we actually had overpaid based upon that, and I sent that to the other side. And so and the attorney on the other side had some health issues and all of that. So anyway, the thing kind of drug. And so it was actually kind of fortunate that it drug, because then Rose came in and got her hands on it. And so Rose calculated out for starting in 2017-18 to the present and reconcile that. And I've got her spreadsheet here that I'd like to pass out. 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's enough. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Just give me that.
5.
Thank you.
And so she had calculated, and the way this is organized is that if you look on this front page, you've got, if you look all the way to the left-hand side, it says first project year, and underneath that, July 17 through June 18. Down below is the fiscal project year, and it's 18, 19, et cetera. So those are all the years. Now, what she had found was that there was an overpayment, and she went through here, of the $27,000 that we had overpaid, paid them too much in 17, 18. Of $27,000, we had paid them in 18, 19, I think $107,000 overpayment. That a $10,000 overpayment the next year, $114,000 overpayment the next year, an underpayment in that last year of $24,000. So her totals had it at $237,000. Now, that's a substantial amount of money. So what did we do when Rose had figured that out, gave it to me? I immediately filed a motion to amend the complaint to make claims for all of that money. And so instead of having a one-count complaint that we were responding to, we did a counterclaim and had a count for each of those contracts. So this is the response that we got to that counterclaim, to our counterclaim. Just so that you all
Thank you.
can have that. And so the response does a replies. So in other words, remember how it was set up. They had filed a complaint. We then did a counterclaim affirmative defense and a counterclaim based upon those other contracts. And then they, of course, denied it, said we were not entitled to recover anything. Specifically on page 4, we get into the affirmative defenses. They're asserting that we had breached the contract, before they did, or that they're asserting they never breached it. But anyway, they're saying we breached it. We have unclean hands. Let's see, recoupment, set off, failure to mitigate damages, unjust enrichment, waiver, ratification, and we keep going on and on. Breach of covenant of good faith and fair dealing, etc. So the issue, as I see it, with this case, I think how Rose has calculated it, I think is, as far as I can tell, is absolutely right. The issue with these cases is that what was supposed to happen was the parties were supposed to get together immediately after the contract, true up the numbers. Now, that obligation under the plain language of the contract is not placed on the district more than it is them. The issue, though, is going to be, is a judge going to look at this and say, no, y'all should have figured this out at the time. It is as much the district's fault as the contractor's fault. I'm just going to leave it alone, etc. There's no provision in the contracts to recover attorney's fees. So you're probably going to try this case, I would assume, and I hate giving these numbers because it always ends up being wrong, but I would assume you're looking at between $30,000 $35,000 to try this case. It's not a jury trial. It's a trial before the judge. At the end of that, you will have expended that money, and you may or may not get this money back. And then remember, too, you're dealing with a private entity. The problem with private entities is, if the judgment's too big, they declare bankruptcy. So, because of this, that scared them, I think, into offering a walk-away deal. The walk-away deal was offered. That's why I'm bringing it to you. This is a settlement agreement that their attorney at least has approved. And if you all approve it, then we will walk away from it. And that covers all of, and we give, so we dismiss the lawsuit. We each give releases to the other for every year and every contract except the one they're presently in, because you can't give a release for a contract that's not concluded yet. You don't know that that contract is going to be finished. And so the issue is, what do y'all want to do? The offer has been made for a walk-away deal. We can do that, and then you're done, and all that. We can also, we have mediation set. We can go to mediation, and all. We don't know the deal we're going to get from there, or if this deal's still on the table even, we can try the case. That's a decision that the school board's the client, and you all have to decide what you want to do with that. You know, the 200 and whatever that figure was, it's a lot of money, but it's also kind of a mess, you know, with the way it was done, and the final analysis. You know, I don't know what I would recommend as far as a, you know, what's your best financial move in this case.
This has been dragging on and dragging on, and I think that if it can be resolved, it needs to be resolved so we can get on about the business. And we are careful now. In the future, in this present contract that we have with them, we'll be more careful and pay more attention.
And I don't know, Rose, did you want to add anything? I mean, you've really dug into these numbers. Okay. So anyway,
Those are my thoughts on it.
I'd like to have the superintendent's recommendation.
Well, like you said, I inherited this, it's been here, and it's just been it's been a weight around our neck. We need to move past this. Because I think all they have is time to just sit up there and harass us. But I feel that we're losing, but sometimes you have to lose to win. And that's the situation where we are. We can cut ties with them. And this year is the last year. The legislators made sure this is the last year we will even have a contract with them, because we will not have to provide educational services for the DJJ facility anymore. And as of June 30th, we should be finished with rites of passage, 100%. And we just need this to go away.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts, questions?
Well, I just, I worry about if you don't, well, if they offer this and you don't, you try to go, then you spend more money than or you don't get nothing back, you still spent what it costs, so, I mean, it's like playing the lottery. And I ain't never won nothing in that.
Madam Chair, I move to accept the settlement agreement with right to passage.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved by Mrs. Knight, second by Mrs. Gibson, that we accept the settlement package from the rite of passage. Any other questions? There be none, we'll take the vote. All in favor? 5-0, Mrs. Bishop. Thank you. We're going right into other items of interest. We'll start with the superintendent, then the attorney, and then board members.
Madam Chair, at least this time I put things out at your desk so I don't have to be passing them down. But I'm going to ask for the board workshop that we had scheduled for the 22nd. That has been taken care of, so we do not have a board schedule for April 22nd. But I'm going to ask you to schedule a board workshop for May 13th. We need to do some policy updates.
Board members?
I'm good with
It's
it.
okay with me.
Okay. Where are we? We got this Madison County Schools, and so we're going to need to add something here, the end of the year dates. So I'm going to keep up with this. May 13th,
No, we don't have any.
And I will keep that updated.
at what
for you.
time? At 6? 5? Policies?
6 is what we've been doing.
6 o'clock.
It's up to
6?
you.
6 is,
6 is what we've been doing so that more of the people that want to be present can be present.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and if you notice, at your place, I had a end of year activities for this district, and May 13th was blank, and so I did look at this. This is a living document, as other things will be added, and I try not to have a conflict. We've got a few things that's double scheduled, but we looked at the audience for that, and so it's no major conflicts. Okay, all of you should have had your meeting with Dr. Brown. Any questions or comments in regards to that?
I'll just say I enjoyed talking to him, and we had a good conversation.
Okay. And I left at your table also another one of his timelines, so in case you understand, want to know what he's doing in the timeline and schedule, I gave you another one. Okay, also at your table, I left you a schedule about Greenville Elementary School. I want you to know that we are working with all of our schools, and we understand that Greenville Elementary was struggling, and it was coming to the table, they didn't have this, they didn't have that. And so BSI came down with us one day, and we looked at, with the population so small, we looked at the data, we looked at the kids that we call bubble kids that we could move to get some points on their grade, and we're taking our coaches and assigning them out there extra time, and they are going out and doing some actual classroom instruction with the students. And this is the schedule for the remainder of the school year before tests. We've even adjusted the test schedule so we can have some actual teaching time on specific skills with the students. Okay. The other paper that Ms. Hill alluded to on Waypoint, I don't have much information for you right now because it's hard. Waypoint deals with, I like to call it a difficult population, but the district is to serve all students within the district. That's our duty. Okay, that is not a DJJ facility anymore. That is a residential foster care facility. And so it is our obligation, if they're under compulsory school attendance age that we have to educate them. What we have been doing, because this past year, since that short time that they gave up their charter, and so they're just regular public schools, they're regular public students. We're paying for the teacher, and we're paying for the curriculum, we're paying for the, all the resources and all that. We're paying that. That district is paying it. And yes, we are earning an FTE. But the deal was to earn an FTE, they have to be there doing survey 2. If they're not there and they come the week after, or 2 weeks after survey 2, we still have to educate them, but we aren't getting any dollars for them. And we get monies for them, funding for them doing survey 3. During the short period of time that we have been in control, they've had 56 students go through there. At present, they have 31 students. And yes, they will count on our report card. Okay, we've got 3 classrooms out there now, but as noted in the memo that I sent you, they're looking at increasing their population to 86 students. We've got to revisit how we're doing that, how we're serving it, and all that. And I'm just bringing it to you so you'll be in the forefront about what's going on. We haven't made a decision. We really haven't. I haven't scheduled to meet with Ms. Savoy and her team, but they are regular students. They are our students. And we say we educate all of our students, and this is part of the all means all. We've got to look at it. Yes, it's going to be costly. Even in the time when we say we don't have the funds. It's going to hurt us, but we have to educate them, and we have to look at the alternative. What are the alternatives? We can bring them into our brick and mortar school. I don't think we want that. Matter of fact, I know we don't want it. I know that it's going to be hard, but we're looking into that. I just got it. That's just some information for you. And that's all I have to say.
Mr. Reeves. Members, board members?
Yes, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our ag teachers and FFA sponsor, Ms. Kaylee Jenkins, and her students. They put forth farm days on April 5th for all the first graders in the county. They had lots of exciting centers where they rotated, and it was very, very nice activity. Also, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Madison County 4-H, the exhibitors, and the Beta Club for the Ecology Day for all the third graders in the county. This took place on April 12th, and it was a wonderful day at North Florida Community College. All wonderful centers, and they really enjoyed that. I'd like to thank the superintendent, Ms. Joseph, and our finance officer, Ms. Rose, for providing the information that I've been requesting lately. I've had different concerns about it, and I have a better understanding of through your information. So let's say I appreciate that. I'd also like to thank you for the calendar, because you know I don't like to miss anything. So this is good. Thank you for getting it all together. And
It's a living document. If it changes next week, I'll
yes, it can change. That's right.
Get out of here.
All right. Thank you.
I don't have anything. I'd just like to thank everybody for everything that they have done.
We're thankful for everything.
Thank everybody for coming. The one thing I'd like to see is, you know, when we have on our agenda and it's got what's on there and then it's got a person's name that it's assigned to, I would really like if they were here to be able to explain everything. Not that you didn't explain everything, Ms. Joseph.
Okay.
But I just think that, you know, I mean, if it's something that they want to get done, they may ought to be here to get it done.
Mr. Reeves. They'll be here if their name on the
Mr. Reeves, good
agenda.
job, Mr. Reeves.
Mr. Reeves, okay, Mr. Carroll.
All right.
I hear you.
Come on.
I think that's a good point, and I appreciate the principals coming, because you never know when a question is going to arise about a school, and it's nice to have the principals here, or vice principals.
I just want to say thank you, everybody that is here in the audience. We have a pretty decent crowd tonight, and don't really have a whole lot else. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will pretty much ditto and echo everything that has been stated. The only thing that I would like to request from the superintendent is just an update as soon as possible on where we are on the current staffing allocation. I know that's been pulled off the agenda because you've been working on, who's staying and going. But
That's going to be on the agenda next time.
as soon as we can get that, I would appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Chair, I move to adjourn.
And we're gonna
Adjournment.
expulsion.
Yes. I need to step out for 1 second.
Okay. Thank you.